Hi class. So today what we're going to do is talk about different types of thesis statements. So if you notice that in the discussions this week, we have two different types of assignments. So the first type of discussion is more of an evaluation of another article. The other one we're going to be doing is a little bit more creative. And so since we're going to be doing two different tasks, I wanted to talk about different types of thesis statements. So we all know that thesis statement is just the main point of something, but you might see thesis statements kind of come in different forms. So I personally think that when you're reading something that's creative nonfiction, like David Sedaris or the articles that we read this week, you'll find that there's more of an implied thesis statement. So if you go to the post and you see the creative nonfiction thesis, there's not a real sense of like a clear, definite thesis, like a main idea that's flat laid out for you. Um, the ideas, though, after reading the essay and then sort of concentrating that line, you can see how this person feels, but it's more of an implied sense in there. It's not direct. Okay. Whereas if you look at the academic essay this week and the academic one I gave you, I thought that was the one line in the essay that was very clear in terms of it being a direct thesis. Like, this is what the author directly believes, that there's something alluring about the ghost, but they may not be real. Um, and so I just wanted to kind of point that out in how the academic is very direct and to the point, whereas the creative non-fiction thesis is still present, but it's something you have to kind of think about and reflect on. And so when you're writing your post this week, you might want to try both of those different modes. So they both should have a thesis. So when you're doing the evaluation discussion, you should have a thesis or a main point about your evaluation. If you thought the essay was or the essay you're evaluating was poorly written, that would basically be your thesis, and you would say this essay is poorly written for these reasons. And so it's very direct and straight to the point. Whereas the creative nonfiction piece, if you look at the prompt, is original and it's about you and it's a little bit more creative. And so you still want to have a point to it, but that point doesn't have to be so pointed, meaning you don't have to at one point say, this event in my life changed me for these reasons. We can kind of glean that information through indirect means. So, in order to help with the whole idea of how to present indirect sort of thesis or characterization, on Wednesday this week, I'm going to be talking more about the idea of how to imply things when you're writing something that's creative. But for now, what we should just look at is that both different discussions this week are kind of helping us practice do different things. So to just kind of recap, in the first discussion, you want to make sure to focus on being a little bit more academic, evaluating the essay that you picked, whereas in discussion 2, you're going to be working more creatively and making sure to still have a point about what you're trying to say, but not maybe being so pointed as I mentioned earlier. Alright, as always, please contact me on the instructor page or via email if you have any questions. Other than that, I'll talk to you on the discussion boards.